But let's begin with the breaking news and the job numbers that just came down in the last 30 minutes or so. The Labor Department says the U.S. economy lost 23,000 jobs last month. The expectation was for moderate job growth, but the unemployment rate did tick down to 4.1%. I want to get straight to our 24/7 Mornings colleague and the co-host of CBS Saturday Mornings, Kelly O'Grady, who's joining us live from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange this morning. So, Kelly, break down these numbers. What's standing out to you?
Well, obviously, it's a big miss. You know, we have been talking over and over about this is a resilient job market. Vlad, you and I talked with Jill Schlesinger yesterday, CBS News business analyst, and we were all saying, you know, hey, it's not really big hiring, but it's not also a lot of firing. You know, this particular jobs report is showing that maybe that trend is going to reverse. But I also want to emphasize one data point does not make a trend. So let's not freak out here. But a couple things stood out to me. As always, healthcare is a growth driver. Manufacturing also and construction were growth drivers. So that's really interesting. Those are areas where we do want to see growth because we do know that the president's policies are really pushing growth in that particular area. So that at least came to fruition there. Where we saw the drops, though, retail, leisure and hospitality, financial activities, local government education lost around 50,000. That one was a really big question mark. I'm out to a few people. They're saying it's a seasonal thing, but it was bigger than expected. On the leisure and hospitality and retail drops, what I'm hearing from a lot of economists I'm talking to is that there may have been some World Cup hiring that was baked into that estimate that actually businesses are already winding down at the end of July after the World Cup ended. So that might not be an indication of a trend, just something that, you know, hey, there was a lot of hiring because of that World Cup and all of the people coming into this country, going to the restaurants, the bars, the shops, and that was winding down early. I think the more concerning thing is wage growth. It was only 0.1%. If you look at how much inflation grew in the month of June, we don't have the July numbers yet. It was more than that. You want your prices to be growing slower than your wages because that's what gives you that sort of room in your wallet. You feel like you're doing better. So I don't want anyone to look at this number and go, oh my God, the job market is falling apart, but it's certainly not a good sign.
So, Kelly, on wages, I know that our CBS News data team found that most Americans got their biggest raises in years, though. But then how does that square with the rising costs we've seen? I have some numbers here. Apparently, since 2019, I was pretty shocked by this. Wages are up 38%. Is that right? But costs are up 30%. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, that's right. When you look at over the past 6 or 7 years, we have seen good wage growth. I think that the average was 38%. Obviously, if you break down by specific industries and specific income growth or their specific income levels, it's going to be, you know, a little bit different. But that's the broad number. I think, though, like you said, 30% cost growth. So what that does tell you is that inflation ate up about 85% of those gains. And then if you look at specific years during COVID, it outpaced that wage growth. And so this is why you hear people say, I feel crunched, because they're used to feeling more room in terms of that wage growth. And they're seeing prices, and it's not really, you don't look at it one by one, rather a year by year. You look at it over time.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to the grocery store, you go out to eat, the prices are so high.
You know, it's so interesting. I watched a video from Joe Bonamassa, a world-famous guitar player, and he was saying how life for musicians on the road has not changed in terms of how they get paid, but the hotel prices, the gas that they use to travel from location to location, all that has gone up. So that's what we're talking about essentially, right? That the cost of living is much higher.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much. She zoomed down to Wall Street from the studio where she was earlier today.
I
know, she's fast. She's quick, that one.